Good morning, everybody. Today we will be reviewing for your Chapter 11 test, which I'm going to assign to you on Monday. So I want to make sure that you guys can practice. I know that in your weekly schedule that I already posted, today I was supposed to do the performance task, but I think this is a better way to review than the performance task, so I'm going to walk you through the chapter practice. This starts on page 563 of your book so that you can follow along. We are going to do a lot of conversions here, so if you could have your yellow sheet that is in the back of your folder, the one that I've referenced a lot, it's going to help to have it nearby since we're going to switch which measurements we're using every time. So it's good to have that resource close. We are going to go through all the problems, and this goes through every lesson, a few problems from every lesson. So here we go. First, we're going to start with length in metric units, okay? So find the equivalent length, okay? So we're going to start by putting the conversion rule right here on the top. So in 1 kilometer, there's 1,000 meters. So therefore, we multiply 1,000 times 7. That gives us 7,000. Sorry, my nose is running this morning. Really bad allergies. Okay, next. In 1 meter, there's 1,000 millimeters. So 9 times 1,000, 9,000. In 1 centimeter, there are 10 millimeters. So 10 times 3, 30. And in 1 kilometer, there are 100,000 centimeters. So 100,000 times 5 is 500,000. Okay, now let's do mass and capacity in metric units, okay? In 1 kilogram, there's 1,000 grams. So 1,000 times 3, 3,000. Okay, in 1 kilogram, there are 1,000 grams. So 1,000 times 7, 7,000. In 1 kilogram, there's 1,000 grams. So 1,000 times 8, 8,000. In 1 kilogram, there's 1,000 grams. 1,000 times 46, 46,000. If you remember when we talked about the metric units and the metric measurement system, it's nice because it's all with base 10, so it's multiplying by a bunch of zeros. It's really easy. Customary is a little bit more difficult because in there's a little bit of different numbers that you have to multiply by. Not necessarily harder, just different. Okay, so now find the equivalent capacity. All right, so 1 liter, there's 1,000 milliliters, so 1,000 times 2, 2,000. In 1 liter, there's 1,000 milliliters, so 1,000 times 10, 10,000. In 1 liter, there's 1,000 milliliters, so 1,000 times 4, 4,000. In 1 liter, there's 1,000 milliliters, so 1,000 times 98, 98,000. Great. So what is the mass of the potatoes in grams? Well, it seems like there's 5 kilograms of potatoes, so we have to go from 5 kilograms to how many grams? Conversion rule on the top. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. So all I have to do is multiply 1,000 times 5, 5,000. Very nice. And just like that, we're done with our first page. I'm going to flip it around. And now we're going to go to customary. Like I said, these don't have a value of 0, but that's okay. We don't have to panic. We can go ahead and still look at our conversion sheet and get it done, okay? So length first. In 1 foot, 12 inches. So 12 times 8, we know that's 96. Okay, I know it's getting annoying to listening to your teacher sniff all the time. I'm sorry. 1 yard has 3 feet in it. So 3 times 10, 30 feet. Okay, 1 yard has 36 inches, and these are some of the ones that we added to our conversion sheet. Kind of on the side, we made a lot of notes. So there's 36 inches in a yard because there's 3 feet in a yard, and there's 12 inches, so it's 3 times 12. 36 times 12, I can't do that on the top of my head, so I'm going to go to the side of the paper, and I'm going to multiply it over here. 2 times 6 is 12, I carry 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Placeholder, I clear the trash. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. Now I add, and I get 432. Perfect. Okay, moving on. 3/4 of a mile to yards. Okay, so we got to figure out how many yards are in a mile. So we have to do that first. Now, I do not have the conversion sheet in front of me. So if you give me 1 second, I'm going to calculate that for you. Here we go. It's coming up. So this would be 1 mile is 1,760 yards. And if you don't have this in your conversion sheet, you can go ahead and write it down. So in 1 mile, there's 1,760 yards. Okay, in order to find feet, then that would be 3 times that, because there's 3 feet in a yard. So now in order to do this, because this is 3/4 of a mile, so it's not a complete mile, the way that we would do this is actually by multiplying by a fraction. And you guys already learned how to multiply by a fraction. Let me show you how you do that. 3/4 times 1,760. So the way you would do this is that you will multiply this times 3 and then divide by 4. So 1,760 times 3. Let's do that first. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry 1. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. Carry 2. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 2 is 5. 5,280. Now I have to divide 5,280 by 4. I'm running out of room a little bit, so I'm going to do it up here. 5,280 divided by 4. 4 fits in because 4 is right here. And this would have been 5,280 with 4 on the bottom, because 4 times 1 is 4. So now 4 fits into 5 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. Drop the 2. 4 fits into 12 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. 0. I dropped the 8. Ooh, running out of room. I'm so sorry. 4 into 8 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. And then I dropped the 0, and 4 fits into 0 0 times. So the final answer is 1,320. If you need to see that again, please feel free to stop and rewind the video. You know you can do that as many times as you need to. Okay, you have a 4-foot long roll of magnetic tape. You use 2 inches for each picture you hang on the refrigerator. How many pictures can you hang? So first, we have to turn 4 feet into inches, okay? 1 foot has 12 inches, so that's 12 times 4, you have 48. Then it says is how many, you use 2 inches for each picture you hang. So in order to know how many, we have to divide by 2. 2 times 4 is 2. Or I'm sorry, 2 fits into 4 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Drop the 8, 2 inside of 8, that's 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Remainder 0, so it's 24. My final answer is I can hang 24 pictures. All right, multi-step problems. Okay, so weight in customary units. Here we go. Let's do 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds, as you know. So now we just multiply 2,000 times 4, 8,000, okay? In 1 pound, there's 16 ounces. So for this one, I have to do 16 times 15. I can't do that on top of my head, so I'm going to do side of the paper. 6 times 5 is 30, carry 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Clear the trash, placeholder. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 1 is 1. Let's add 240 ounces. Okay, so 1 pound, 16 ounces, 16 times 12. Again, I can't do that on top of my head. So I'm going to do that on the side of the paper. 2 times 6 is 12, carry 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Clear the trash, placeholder. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 1 is 1. Let's add those puppies up. 192 ounces. Fantastic. 1 ton 2,000 pounds, so 2,000 times 15. I'm gonna do 15 times 2 because I can do that in my head. That's 30, and then add the 3 zeros. If you could not do that, excuse me, at the top of your head, you can also multiply on the side of the paper. I'm so sorry for sneezing. It's 2,000 times 15. You could do that as well and multiply it out. Okay, so now 2.5 pounds into ounces. The way we do this is we do the whole number first, and then we figure out the fraction and add the fraction to it. So in 1 pound, there's 16 ounces. Let's do the whole number first. 16 times 2. That's 32. And now half a pound. So it would be whatever half of this is. What's half of 16? That's 8. So 32 plus 8, that would give me 40. So this is 40 ounces. For here, 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. There is no whole number here, so I just have to multiply by that fraction. So it's 3/4 times 2,000. 3 times 2,000, that's 6,000. Because 3 times 2 is 6, and I add the 3 zeros. And on the bottom, 4 times 1 would be 4. So now I have to divide. I'm going to do it over here because I have more space over here. So 4, and over here, 6,000. 4 fits into 6 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Drop the 0. 4 into 20, that's 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Now I drop the 0. 4 into 0, 0 times. Drop the other 0. 4 into 0, 0 times. So 1,500 is my answer. Okay, done with that page. Got one more page to do. 2 sides, of course, and now we're at 11.5. We're in the halfway point. Find the equivalent capacity. Now, capacity in customary units, bring out your big G. That's what we're going to be doing now. And to practice how to draw big G, which is kind of important, let's do that real quick because we haven't done it in a while. I want to make sure you know how to do it. So for big G, you're going to draw on your piece of paper a gigantic G. Here we go. Here's my big G. Now inside the big G, go 4 Q's because there's 4 quarts in a gallon. Here they are. Now I'm going to draw 2 P's inside each quart because there's 2 pints in a quart. There we go. And inside each P, there's 2 C's because there's 2 cups in a pint. And then there are 8 ounces, fluid ounces, in a cup. So I draw an 8. The reason I just draw the 8 instead of 8 little circles or 8 O's is because that would be kind of difficult to keep track of or to draw. So it's much faster just to do an 8. So this is your big G. So keep it close so that you can do this next section. It should be on the back of your yellow sheet. Okay, here we go. So in 1 pint, there are 2 cups, and I know that because in 1 P, there's 2 C's. So now I just multiply. So 2 times 6, that is 12. Right there. Okay, trying to do a bunch of things at the same time. Sorry for that pause. Okay, in 1 quart, how many pints? Well, in 1 Q, there's 2 P's, so that means that 2 goes up here. 2 times 3, that's 6. Now, gallon. In 1 gallon, there's 4 Q's. So 4 times 9, that's 36. In 1 gallon, there's how many pints? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 2, 16. Remember, fractions. That means I do the whole number first and then I do the fraction. Don't worry, I'm going to help you. In 1 gallon, there's 8 pints. So first I do 8 times 10 because that's the whole number. That's 80. And then I have to do 3/4 times 8. So 3/4 times 8. Remember that every whole number has an imaginary 1 on the bottom. 3 times 8, that's 24. 4 times 1 is 4. So what's 24 divided by 4? That's 6. So 80 plus 6, that's 86. Okay, remember that a fraction bar is nothing else but a division symbol in disguise. And because this is a basic fact, I could do it in my head. I didn't need to do the division house. But if you need to do the division house, there's nothing wrong with that. So 24 divided by 4, that's 6. I added it to the 80 I already had, that's 86. Over here, 1 pint has how many cups? 2 cups. So 2 times 6, whole number first, that's 12. And then half of a pint, that means half of this number. Half of 2 is 1. So this would be 13. Make and interpret line plots. This was the first lesson I recorded while we were in this little distance learning thing we got going on. So let's review how to do that, okay? It says a scientist is studying the lengths of 15 seahorses. Make a line plot to display the data. So here's 15 fractions. Now, we know that the first thing that we should do is put everybody with a denominator of 8. So let's do that first, okay? So if this was 8 on the bottom, that would be 4 times 2 is 8, so 1 times 2 is 2. So anytime you see a 2 fourths, it's actually 2 eighths. I think those are the only ones I see. Now, wherever you see 1/2, that would be 4 eighths. Okay, so 4 eighths over here. This would be 4 eighths as well. I'm just scratching it out so I don't see the other fraction. 4 eighths, 4 eighths. Okay, now everybody has an 8 on the bottom. I'm good to go. The first measurement that I see is I can start with a 1/8, and I can go all the way to 5 eighths. So I'm gonna do these as my fractions here, okay? I have a title, seahorse lengths. Now let's see, how many 1/8 do we count? I don't see any, so there's no x's that should go there. 2 eighths, I see here and I see here. 2 of them, so scratch them out so I don't count them again. 1, 2. 3 eighths, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 x's. Scratch them all out so I don't use them again. Now all I have left are my 4 eighths. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have finished my line plot. That's awesome. Now it says in 32, use the line plot in exercise 31, so the one we just did. How many times as many 3/8 inch seahorses are there 1/4 inch seahorses? Remember, your 1/4 was this one, okay? And your 3/8 is that one. So there are 8, and these are 2. So how many times do you have to multiply 2 to get 8? That would be 4. So 4 times as many, because you would have 2 times what equals 8. There's 2 here, 8 there, so that would be 4 times. Okay, in exercise 31, are most of the seahorses less than 5/8 of an inch long? So less than 5/8 for more seahorses? Yeah, because all of them are on this side, like less than 5/8. So yes, they are. They're on the left side of the 5/8. So most of them are less than 5/8 of an inch long. All right, last page. You're doing great. Keep it up. Units up time. Here we go. 1 year, 52 weeks. So 52 times 5. I'm not gonna try to do that in my head. So I'm gonna do it over the side of the paper. 52 times 5. 5 times 2 is 10, carry 1. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1 is 26, so that's 260 weeks. 1 minute has 60 seconds, so 60 times 15. I'm going to do it on the side of my paper. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 6 is 30. No trash to clear, but I do need a placeholder. 1 times 0, 0, 1 times 6, 6. Add these two up, and we get 900 seconds. Okay. 1 day, how many hours? 24. I'm going to multiply by that fraction. So 1/3 times 24. Remember, there's an imaginary 1 as our denominator. 1 times 24, 24. 3 times 1, 3. And this is just a division symbol. And this is a basic fact. So 24 divided by 3, that's 8. Okay? And now 1.5 years, a year and a half, sorry, in 2 weeks. So 1 year, 52 weeks. We start with the whole number. 1 times 52, 52. And then half of whatever 52 is. So half of 52 is 26. So now I'm going to do 52 plus 26. That would be 78. And if you didn't know what half of 52 was right off the bat, not a problem. All you have to do is go to the side of your paper and divide. 2 into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Now this is 12, 6. There we go. And the reason why I did that really fast is because I want to make sure that this video doesn't end up being too long for you to watch. Okay, only 2 more sections left, 11.8 and 11.9. A gymnastics competition is 2 3/4 of an hour long. The competition time is divided equally among 5 age groups. For how many minutes does each age group perform? So I need to, they say for how many minutes. So I'm going to have to turn 2 3/4 of an hour into minutes first in order to figure this out. And then however many minutes there is, divide them equally among the 5 age groups. So in 1 hour, 60 minutes. Start with the whole number first. 2 times 60, that's 120. And then 3/4 of an hour with from 60. So if you remember, I used in this lesson I did a little clock, right? And in an hour there's 4 quarters, and they're all 15 minutes long, because that equals 60. So if I have 3/4 of that, so 1, 2, 3, 15 plus 15 plus 15, that's 45. So 120 plus 45, that would equal 165. But that's not the final answer. Now I have to take 165 and divide it by the 5 age groups to see how many minutes each age group gets. So 5 into 16, that's 3 times. 3 times 5 is 15. 16 minus 15 is 1. Drop the 5. 5 into 15, 3 times. 3 times 5, 15. So that would mean that each age group would get 33 minutes. All right, last section, last 6 problems. We got this. Okay, add or subtract. These are mixed measures. We did this in yesterday's lesson. So we're adding 3 months plus 7 months. That's 10 months. And then 7 years plus 4 years. That's 11 years. So 11 years, 10 months for your first problem. Subtraction, 2 quarts minus 1 quart, that only leaves me 1 quart. 11 gallons minus 3 gallons, that's 8 gallons. Over here, remember, this is just 0, not an issue. 1 cup plus nothing is 1 cup. And 5 pints plus 6 pints, that's 11 pints. Now on the ones on the bottom, I am going to have to borrow, but don't worry, I'm going to help you through those. Okay, now in 8 yards, 1 foot minus 1 yard and 2 feet. I cannot take 2 feet out of 1 foot. So I'm going to have to borrow. The way I do that is not 8 yards anymore. Now there's 7. Okay, so how many feet are in a yard? That's 3. So that yard I converted to 3 and I added to this one, making it 4 feet now. Now I can do 4 feet minus 2 feet equals 2 feet. 7 yards minus 1 yard, that's 6 yards. Over here, I can now take 12 hours out of 3 hours. So I have to take this day, take 1 day out and turn it into 9 and add those 24 hours, that is 1 day, to that 3. So this is now 27 hours. 27 minus 12, that gives me 15 hours. And 9 days minus 5 days is 4 days. Over here, miles to yards. Now remember, we did that previously. We found out, and I'm going to go back over here, that for the miles, there was 1,760 yards in a mile. So if I take 1 mile out, turn this into 12 miles, and I add 1,760 to 352, which is the yards I already had. That's 2, carry 1. 1 and 7 is 8, 8 and 3 is 11. So 2,112 minus 461. I can't do that at the top of my head. I wish I could. But so 2,112 minus 461. That's 1. Borrow, that's 11. That's 5. Borrow, 6. 1,651 yards. And then 12 minus 4, that's 8 miles. Please stop and rewind this one, especially if it wasn't very clear on how I was doing that, okay? All right, so now we have reviewed for the chapter 11 test. That will be Monday. What I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna post a practice test on Edutone on your math online book for you to do the work in. Please have your big G close to you. Have your parents help you if you need it. So that's what I'm gonna post. It's a chapter 11 practice test. That's what you're gonna be doing on your online math textbook. All right, good luck. Bye-bye.